Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, osia dem yopo.
You are once again welcome to PENDREAM TV, the only channel that brings you the best and latest updates in politics. If you are new here, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for more updates, like and also share to other members to watch as well. You can equally leave a comment at the comment section after watching or send us a voice note on our WhatsApp number, which is 0277 128 777. Thank you.
In the validation tours today?
No.
Explain to us what these tours were supposed to do.
Okay. The truth is that we are receiving all manner of petitions that contains all manner of allegations. Some are very, very specific allegations. So the committee took a decision that at some point it's important to validate the allegation. For example, somebody says that somebody has built a house with stolen money. For example, is it okay to just put that in a report and say somebody said somebody has stolen money with built a house with stolen money? We don't think that is enough. So we decided that for some of the allegations, it's important to validate it, at least to know that there's actually a house there. Okay, that this house that this petitioner or complainer was talking about actually exists. They are, in respect of our tour yesterday, those are some of the specific complaints or petitions. And therefore, we thought it was very important to go around and visit this site and be sure that if we put this in a report, that it represents at least the truth of the petition to warrant further investigations.
So you went to see for yourselves?
Yes.
What are the things that you were being told were happening?
Yes.
And you talk about validation. Would you say what you saw was a true representation of what was in those petitions?
Yes, and in some instances worse. At the time some of the petitions came in, for example, if you look at the CSR bungalows, at the time the petitions came in, the complaint was that very senior scientists that work for the government were being ejected from their homes, and their families and themselves were being ejected from their homes to make way for private investors that had been given the land in cantonment. So at the time, the complaint was that this was apparently going on. By the time we got there yesterday, in fact, we actually saw one of the scientists' family. They were just about to exit the house. The rest had already been vacated. Apparently, they've been taunted with all manner of threats and themselves, their families. So some of them left. Have actually left the bungalows. So if we had not gotten there on time, I'm sure they would have been pulled out. So I would say that at some point it becomes a fluid situation. And what we saw, in my opinion, was worse than the petition had indicated.
I see. But you in fact, the interesting thing about your work is, okay, so let me establish. Now, are these the only petitions you had on lands?
No. In fact, even as we work, we are still getting petitions from the public. And then there are also other large-scale land appropriation that has not even come before the committee, that is also known. And also understand that this is just Accra. We are talking about a nationwide appropriation of public land for private benefit.
You have received petitions from across the country?
No, I'm saying that there are two levels. There are petitions about specific issues, lands. This is just not all of it. Okay, we may go on further trips in the coming days. But I'm saying that these exercises that you see here, the appropriation of public land for private purposes has happened over nationwide, okay, and happened over the past 8 years. So we're looking at something very, very widespread. And also understand that there are also appropriations of public lands that have not come before the committee that is also known. So this is a very serious situation we're dealing with. And so now I am just, for example, yesterday when I saw the scientists being evicted from their homes, I couldn't believe what a country we are building. I can't believe that. The number of years it takes to have an experienced scientist of that. And you know how science is. The fact that we go to a government bungalow and evict a scientist that works for the government, evict them and their families, it's something I find it difficult to agree with and understand. Okay. If, for example, you say you had bare government land which had nothing on it, and therefore you felt like this needs to be put to use, I can seem to agree with that if the processes are correct. But the fact that there are government apartments on it, and you are replacing the government apartment with a private apartment. Well, the people who work for the same government that you are taking their land, and they have to work to make sure that your land documents are done, you are ejecting them from their homes. I find it difficult how anybody that has a public mandate conducts a business like this. I just find it very bizarre. I find it bizarre that a government agency that is working, they are working. It's not like they stop working or the land is vacant. They are working. They work every day to make sure that agriculture functions in this country. They are booted out and thrown into some outskirts, and somehow that is okay, so that private people can develop their land for themselves. It's as if that government people cannot live in cantonment. They have to live in the bush. Like I'm trying to understand what this massive land capture is all about.
So this is, and if I heard you right, this is not the end of your validation tour when it comes to land.
Yes, when it comes to land, no. This is not all. There are others.
Your own information, you have information that is not necessarily contain a petition before you that you also be following up on.
This is a very widespread operation. And I think it requires a very extensive, a very meticulous, a very consistent approach in dealing with it. And also, let me explain that oral is not just about land. There are other more perhaps more serious things that are not physical. Okay, so we're talking about white-collar crimes like corruption, organized crimes, so all sorts of things. So it is not just about land. Land is the physical things that you see, that you can go there and validate and show the media. But there are other, perhaps equally or more sophisticated and more serious issues that we may have to deal with, which is especially at the level of white collar crime, corruption, money laundering, things like that. Those are another level of it, of some of the petitions you receive and some of the information that is already being processed, that is known to the system. So this is a very fluid and a very extensive, widespread occurrences in the past, few years, and requires some really serious efforts to ensure that the vision of the president is achieved. And we all have to thank God, to be honest. We all have to thank God that our president made this promise part of his campaign promise and did not just sit on it, has already begun with credibility in dealing with it. Because if you look at what was going on, another 4 years under the previous government, I don't think there would have been anything left.
Well, so, and now let me come to the other forms of petition you're talking about: white-collar crimes, corruption, misappropriation, among others. All the other petitions you're receiving. You are an investigator yourself, and I'm sure you know better than me that investigations takes a lot of work. But so what do you do, considering the fact that you're only supposed to gather information as a preparatory team? What do you do with those petitions when they come before you? How do you validate them?
So, for example, I look at petitions and then look at information, or I look at complaints. So, for example, if somebody has sent you, has said, look, this and this happened in my agency, and these are the documents. That's almost like a preliminary validation. There's a document that you can actually refer to, just like there's a land that you can go and see. It has attached a document that says, this is what happened. Okay, so that is, for me, enough preliminary validation that if you want to start this investigation, there's a beginning paper trail, which is like the site of the land that we visited already. There are other petitions that has no documentation or anything. However, it is a tip that can lead you into something very significant. I call those complaints, and so it will be important to isolate those ones from those ones that have data attached to it that you can immediately, check. Okay, this happened here, this happened here, this happened there. That you can group together and work on. The rest, you can also validate them by at the investigative level, where you can go and find out, did this happen, who was in charge, who do I call, who is responsible, all of that. But why this is widespread, it is doable, and I think that this government possesses the human resource to really execute this at a very high level.
In fact, and I listened to you carefully, you said you classify them into petitions, information, complaints. What are the differences? What's the difference between a petition and an information and a complaint?
Okay, for example, somebody says that over the past few years, I've seen this thing happen. I want you to investigate. That's as far, and please understand me, this is not a classification that has been given by the committee. I'm just saying, from my expertise, if you tell me that something smells like a fish, and therefore I think they are frying fish in this house, I consider that to be information. Okay? When you tell me that whilst I used to work at this agency, these and these and these used to go on, and that this was happening and that was happening, and you leave it there, I see that to be a lot more specific than somebody saying that I suspect this and this might have been happening somewhere else. So if you tell me that I used to work here, or I used to work there, and when I was there, this and this and this were happening, I think that is a complaint that something may have been happening at a certain place at a certain period of time, or continued, or is still happening. When you send me information to say that $300 million was stolen, and that this is how the money was stolen, and these are the documents to back what I'm saying, I find that to be a petition. So those are the classifications that you need to make. If you have thousands and thousands of all these things coming to you, you must be able to have a criteria to say this is A level, this is B level, this is C level, and that's my classification as petition, complaint, and information. And it does not mean that information may not lead to something much even bigger than a petition. Sometimes you will find that little tip-off will lead you into something so grand that you will be surprised. It will actually be more important than the petition. But at the end of the day, you must have a criteria to differentiate between all these levels of information you're receiving.
I see. And so far, the petitions you're getting, are you getting the response from the public that you anticipated when this was put out and the public was asked to assist by providing information?
First of all, I would like to use your medium to thank the general public. First, the president for setting up the committee, because without that, we will not be here. And to thank the general public for their enthusiasm in participating in this process. It is obvious that the public is hugely interested in Oral's work. It is obvious that the public expectation is very high. And I think that when it comes to matters like this, I always tell people that, look, when I used to work as a journalist, I used to tell people that whatever you're writing about, there's somebody out there in the public who was there when it happened. There's somebody who is part of it. There's somebody who has all the documents. Those are the people I try to impress. If that person that has all that information concludes that I have come so close to the truth, my work is done. So I think the public has everything. They know everything that the government, the investigators, that Oral needs to know. Okay, without them, it's going to be very difficult. And so when you have people take the time, sometimes you see the length of the things they write. You can know that this is something somebody actually took time to sit down and write. When you have people participate in things like that, we can only be grateful. And the difficulty is that we are not able to send replies to each of them to even acknowledge receipt of it. But please let them understand that we're seeing their information, we are processing it, we will send it to the appropriate quarters. It will receive the necessary attention when the time comes. Some of it might not be immediately because it's the different sectors, the different levels, but we will get there. And so they should have patience, and we thank them very much for their participation. It's been remarkable. The level of support that the public has given, even though I've seen people trying to undermine the work. I've seen some politicians trying to undermine the work of the committee. I think the overwhelming majority of Ghanaians are eager to see something, and that is, for me, the most important part. Those are the ones I take serious.
In fact, talking about politicians, yesterday your committee was constantly talked about. In fact, when the Attorney General designate was before Parliament, the nominee, the issue of the legality of your committee was of huge concern to the minority leader. I'm sure you've heard him speak on those many times. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I know Afenyo Markin is a young man, but I know that when NPP came to office 8 years ago, he wasn't that young. We compare it. First of all, compare what happened under NPP in 2017. In fact, starting from 2016 December, all the way through January. Compare what happened there for a minute to what is happening now. Compare the civility of what happened in 2016 December to what is happening 2025 January. I mean, it's like day and night. These people were beating people, were chasing them out of the house, were locking government offices. You remember that? They used wood to lock government offices, put nails and buttons and lock them up, and chase people out of their offices. They're taking position, they call it. All sorts of things happen. You have a president that says, I promise to deliver something to my people. The people have endorsed that message and given me the mandate. While I wait to roll out my plans into government, because you do this in opposition, right? That plan has to now fit into a government system. The law says that there must be a transition. The old government must go so that the new government must come. The law itself makes allocation that you don't wake up and just enter government. You need to collect information from the outgoing government. That is what transition is about. What they are doing at the transition level, that is what is going on. They are gathering information, exchanging data between the outgoing and the incoming. Now, the president says that while that is going on, I need to transition my ideas from being a campaign and a manifesto promise into government. And that when I enter government, I also need the same information. That information that I'm looking for is not with this government because they are the perpetrators. The information I'm looking for as part of my transition into government is with the people. Therefore, I'm setting up a committee that will engage the people to collect information that fits into my manifesto promise so that once handing over is done, I can understand and fit this into my government just as I promised. Somebody says this is illegal. Put the President Mohammed's committee aside. We, as individuals, have powers to go and investigate anything we want, even though that is not what this committee is doing. Every citizen has a right to petition. The right to petition is an inalienable right to every citizen. So when I hear them say this is illegal, it is only the NPP that is talking like this because they know what is coming. And I can tell you, Sana, they know what is coming. And something big is coming. So I hear it all the time. They try to smear the committee. First, I think that is what they try to do. They try to smear the committee. They realize the public were behind them. Then they try to pick on individual members of the committee, they realized that it was not working. They tried to do all manner of things. It was not working, and now they decided, oh, this is illegal. I just don't get it. How could what they were doing at conference center be legal? And this is between outgoing members and incoming members. That is legal. But the interface with the people on whom everything, on whose behalf everything is done, that one is illegal. That if you know that something has gone wrong, that public money has been abused and stolen, if you know and you can give information towards that, they said that is illegal. So what is legal? Legal is the one that everybody keeps quiet over what has happened, that the looting has gone on. Everybody keeps quiet. That is the legal one. This is the mindset that has driven this country into where we are. And that mindset must be shut down and shut down immediately. I avoid it. I avoid it because I think it's a distraction. I've seen some of them doing press conference. Senator, you know, there are things that we discussed 2023. All of a sudden is brought in 2025 as something that was sent today. All of that to distract us from what we are doing. This is a very serious assignment. Senator, President Muhammad, and we are a small part of it. President Muhammad's vision is huge as far as dealing with this issue is concerned. And we are a small part. Those who try to focus on individuals and this, President Muhammad did not set up Aura so that you can go after one man. What is it that a president can go after? What is it about one man that the president can go after that he cannot? That he needs to set up a whole architecture in order to do that. Does this make sense? The president's vision is bigger than all of us, okay? And it is the most remarkable vision, at least in recent times in African politics. A politician, an African politician that says that I see state capture. I see the future of our generation being washed away by a few crooked, stealing, thieving public servants and their private sector allies. That this must stop, and that if you give me the mandate, I am going to make sure that this will stop. It hardly happens in African politics. So you have a president that comes up with a policy like this, voted for by the majority of the nation overwhelmingly. And then somebody says that mandate, even trying to execute that mandate is illegal. And he's a member of parliament, okay? He was voted for by the people to come to parliament and do things on their behalf. But the president who was voted for, and he was voted for by only his constituency, but the president that was voted for by the whole nation, his conduct is illegal. But the MP's conduct is legal. Have you heard this before? The audacity of it. You see, I hear people talk tough, Senator. I hear them, they talk tough. But you either will do tough things or you're going to talk tough. I like the latter. Okay? I rather like to act tough. Do the work, act tough when you have the information. And ignore these people who have been voted out because of their abysmal performance in the past 8 years, who have supervised, in my opinion, the largest looting of state coffers in our recent history. And then they say that don't do it because that one is illegal. Keeping quiet is legal. The Constitution even mandates the public to even arrest people when they are doing wrong. Ordinary people can arrest you if you are doing something wrong. And just collecting information from the public about wrongdoing is illegal. And these are lawyers Okay, they say they are lawyers. They sit on television. They went to law school. They are proud of their law, and they still talk like this. I feel that this is a distraction. That's why you realize that in all the committees where I don't grant interviews, I don't talk. I don't talk because there's a work to be done. This is a very serious one, and I hate this distraction. That is why I keep my head buried down, because that's where the work really is.
Interesting. Now, I haven't said that. You said they know what is coming. Do you have a petition against Afenyo Markin?
I personally?
No. Has a petition been submitted to the oral preparatory team?
No, Sana, you see, those are operational issues. Okay, I don't discuss specific issues or operational issues, both at the strategic level and at any level. But I'm telling you, President Mahama, you see, and let me say something. Some people actually think that the president came up with oral in 2024, okay, and therefore doesn't know what he's talking about. This man started this way back 2019. He knows what he's talking about, and he knows what he knows. That is what I would like to tell you. If they are sitting down thinking that, oh, what the public is going to bring to President Mahama is the only thing he knows, they should wait. Okay? They should wait. So I'm not going to talk about anything specific, but I'll leave you with this, that you see the way the president consistently tell you that he will deal with the looting, The Ashantis have a saying that so the Fire Force or the Buba Doboa, not the nice Bakoso. Okay? So our president did not sit down in 2020 and think, oh, this will be a great political idea. No. This is something he started working on way back 2019. If 2020 had happened, you would have seen it. And he believed in it so much that even when 2020 didn't happen, he now made it a part of his campaign. That is how serious the man is. So they should sit down there and joke, tickle themselves and laugh and think that this is one. I heard one of their very top people say that, oh, you people should have patience because when we came, we also said the same thing. We couldn't find anything. Look at what has happened. Even one case, he went 8 years. I'm telling you, one case will not go 8 years. So now, believe me, you know a few things. Okay, you know a few things. One will not go a few years. That thing they were doing, calling it witch hunting, they call it investigation. That's not what we are doing. What the government intends to do is a proper, impartial, consistent, and elaborate investigation. And I like the work to show. I think for me, that's where my passion is. I want the work to show what will be unearthed. Not to talk about what to do, because at the end of the day, that's the talk. The work will show what has gone on. And like I said, given the chance to talk tough and act tough, I rather would choose the latter, because that's where the action really is. Talk, they say, is cheap. So I can tell you that the president knows what he knows. And this is not one of those fanciful ideas that they came, zero tolerance for corruption, didn't happen. Announced principle, it didn't happen. So they are thinking that it is one of the lies they told themselves that they believed, that they told the nation, that the president is probably doing the same thing. Is every time they come to government, they promise they will crack down on corruption, and they don't. They rather elevate it. From Kufuor's time to Nanado's time, that is all they do with slogans. Zero tolerance, then there's zero delivery. Announced principle, then announced principle rather catch them. So they think that the president is the same as them. I can tell them to sit well. And when they keep talking about this thing, oh, this is not going to go anywhere, this is illegal, this is this, they should wait. Oral, as it is now, is a preparatory stage. It's a transitional arrangement. Okay? between the presidency and the interface with the public. How can anybody say that this is illegal? It is because they know that all the things that they have been doing, the public know about it. All the wealth that they have illegally amassed. There are masons who work on the site. They are site supervisors. There are banks that transferred money. They know that the public is the most important part of exposing them. That is why they are saying that President Mohammed's interface with the public in dealing with returning the loot is illegal. But if we all kept quiet and did nothing, that is legal.
I see. I want to go back to the work you did yesterday, and that's the last point. The last question I'll ask you, then we'll bring this to a close. In fact, my reporter was dropping names that the workers at the site were telling you that this building that we are building is for this man, is for that man. In fact, he mentioned even the vice president's name, among others, as one of the names they heard. What value do you attach to this kind of information that was provided to you on the ground?
Sana, you see, when you hear them shouting, okay, I'm not going to talk about what somebody told the committee, what I heard, what I know, I'm not going to talk about that. But I just told you something, that when you hear somebody crying very loud, okay, there's something. There's always something. There is a reason why you're crying very loud. Because nobody cries when he's happy. So if somebody is crying very loud, it means that there's something underneath. As for me, I have been given a very simple assignment by the President of the Republic. He says that, Raymond, I intend to roll out this policy. But I recognize that the public know more than everybody else. Therefore, I am sending you to go and sit down and interface with the public and let me see what they know. Because they have been complaining that there's corruption, they've been talking about it, they've been doing all manner of things about it. So, let me interface with the public because they have elected me and endorsed my manifesto so that I can hear what the public have to say and what they know about what has gone on. Then somebody is crying, Ajay, it's illegal, Ajay. And I'm saying that nobody, when you win the lottery, do you cry? You laugh. Okay? It is only when something bad happens to you that you cry. So I will leave you with that. They are crying because something bad is happening to what they have done. Something bad is about to happen. And that is why they are crying. All the statements about aura, about the president, this is not going anywhere. Okay, why? You are the president's opponent. If one of his key achievements is going nowhere, you should be laughing loud so that everybody will hear. Why are you crying? You're crying so that the president will be saved, that the NDC will come back in power after 4 years? No. You don't want the NDC to come back. They are doing something that is about to fail. You should be the first person to be happy. Why are you crying so loud? You only cry so loud when you are in pain. When something bad is happening to you. And it looks to me that something very bad is happening to them. What we hear, what we know, what we will do, you will hear. We are all in this country together. God being so good, they have given the president the mandate. The president being so good says, I am starting now. Even before I'm sworn in, I'm starting now. So why are people crying? Let's wait.
And I hope yesterday you did not organize a birthday party in my absence.
Well, you didn't show up.
No. You didn't invite me.
No. You don't need that invitation, do you? No, you don't. You don't. Yes. Yesterday I came back. I was quite exhausted, but thank you. It was, for those who don't know, yesterday was my wife's birthday, and it was a pleasure to come back. At least after all that distress, seeing what was going on, it was a pleasure to come home. At least to something quite exciting, really, because you get distressed, you get stressed out when you see that level of thinking. I just find it very bizarre. Like, what is going on? I find it bizarre. There is a government agency that was working, okay? Government did not dissolve that agency. The board were sitting at home. The office of the agency was given to somebody associated with the politically exposed person. He sacked the government workers. The government workers were at home being paid, and he came there to start selling products in the government office. That he used it for his store, and he sacked the government, and the government is paying the workers and the board members while they are home. And you say that this is illegal, and I'm telling you one thing more, one more. When you see that somebody cries the loudest, it means he feels the worst pain. If people are crying, and you see that one person is crying very loud, it means that that person is hurt the most. You should wait.
And extend my best to the missus. And thank you. Thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you very much, Senator. And my regards to the listeners. They kept your station going.
Yes.
And we're very grateful.
And thank you. Thank you, as always.
And thank you to the staff. You know you're my favorite. You guys are my favorite.
Well, Raymond Acha is a member of the preparatory team, oral preparatory team. They're just preparing the grounds. The work has not started, and that's the indication it's given. That we haven't even come to the matter, the big matter yet. And then there's the shout.
Thank you for staying tuned. PENDREAM TV really appreciates your time once again on the channel. And to our new members, we urge you to subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell, turn it to all posts so that you'll be notified duly of anything that will be loaded onto the channel. Thank you.
PENDREAM TV now, so far so good. Say open online portal e Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.